This is RTP. This is RTP180.
Thanks, Wade. I'm ready for a jump ball. Get going. All right, so my name's Joe Sokol. I've been working at Cree, make LEDs, make them brighter and more energy efficient. I'm not going to go too much into the details of the chemistry, but instead I'm going to talk about what gets me excited to go to work every day, which is our products, which sounds like an advertisement. So, and I'm going to start off by just talking a little bit about the lighting industry in general, where it's been, where it's going. The first commercial LED was released in 1968, and over the last 50 years, the brightness of commercial LEDs have increased by 7 orders of magnitude. And at the same time, the cost has just continued to plummet. So what this has done to the industry is, for decades it was a niche product, and now there's more and more companies getting involved, and that competition has driven innovation, which has made it brighter and cheaper. The plot here stops at 2010, and I can tell you, since then, our brightness and costs have only further moved away from the fits. It's just a super competitive industry, and that's allowed LEDs to be everywhere. They're so cheap now, they end up in as backlighting in panels. They end up now you can use a red, blue, and green LED together to create a pixel. So outdoor displays and jumbotrons now are all made with LED pixels. We do stadium lighting, architectural lighting, a lot of automotive lighting, handhelds. Really, LEDs are everywhere. And that's exciting, because I get to make something, and then it gets to end up everywhere. So for a really long time, the way we made LEDs, we would just have one flagship starting material. And then depending on what the consumer wanted, or the customer wanted, we would take that I'd make one large LED, and it would get fabricated down into tens of thousands little LEDs. And depending on whether they need something that was really bright, they would just make those LEDs a little bit bigger, or they need something that was a little bit dimmer, they could make them a little smaller. And so basically every day I came to work, and it was, all right, you just keep getting brighter, keep getting brighter, keep getting brighter, and keep getting cheaper. But now that the costs are so cheap, a customer would rather just use 2 smaller dim LEDs in place of one of our more expensive ones. So this is a drastic shift in the industry. A few years ago, if you were 2% brighter than everybody else in the world, you could charge a premium, and your product flew off the shelves. Everybody else sat in distribution warehouses. Not the case anymore. So what we've had to do is kind of go back to back to the drawing board. How do we make diversified products that meet specific customer needs? So since we primarily were making one thing for so long, we had to take that one thing and leverage the value that already existed. And to start off with, if we couldn't rely on being the brightest anymore, what else was great about the LEDs we were making? And one of the key things was the reliability. So there's a lot of places where it's actually more expensive to install a light or change a light bulb than it is for the actual light bulb itself. Places with really high ceilings, grocery stores, big box stores, based off of liability and insurance reasons, they can't just put out a step ladder and have somebody go up and change the light bulb. So they want to use an LED that lasts 20 years. You do it once and you forget about it. Architectural lighting, we recently, when the Empire State Building switched to LED architectural lights and they used our lights, that was really cool. But it's not easy to go and change those out. And then talking about what gets me excited about going to work is we make this thing over and over, and then you hear about where it's ending up. And one of the things I'm really excited about right now is next year when the new LA Rams Stadium opens. It's lights I worked on that are being used for the stadium lights, and they're also being used for the display panels for the really awesome 360 Jumbotron. So I'm still trying to get them to send me out there to make sure it works, but no one's taking me up on it. All right. So that was leveraging the value of our product that already existed. Now that's not enough. We got to also go out and get new customers, right? You got to keep growing, and we've got to create value going forward. So one of the things we talk about reliability is a lot of people take a bunch of smaller chips and they put them in arrays, and that you're able to maximize the intensity out of it that way, as opposed to buying one big expensive chip. So one of the things we're trying to do now is, instead of having the the customer put our LED components into an array, is we're going to put the array on the chip itself. So maybe a little bit difficult to see, but this is a one chip LED that's composed of thousands of little itty bitty LEDs. And we're able to create this package that treats each LED like a pixel. And so we call this a highly pixelated light source. And what you're able to control each pixel individually. This actually has like a really high power requirement. And so after years and years of all my annual reviews being, did you help us get brighter this year? And basically, however much percentage brighter you got was your percentage raise. Is now it's like, okay, now we need to get the power down, and we don't care about brightness. So this was a project I was like really excited about because it's just doing something very different. I got to dig deep in my toolbox and find, run experiments and things that we've never done before. And sure enough, we were able to reduce the voltage requirements of our main LED product by 10%. We also took an 8% brightness hit, but we were still winning lumens per watt. And then over time, as we continued to work on it, we're actually able to close that intensity gap back up until we were matched while maintaining the 10% voltage reduction. All right, so now we've got this highly pixelated light source that we've been working on. What can we do with it? I'll just show we were partnered with a headlight manufacturer, and we're working on getting this headlight launched. And what's really cool about it is it's got selective dimming. So as I said, each of the pixels you can turn on and off individually. So in combination with the sensor, you can leave your high beams on all the time, and the headlamp will automatically turn off the pixels pointed at oncoming vehicles. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Then in addition to that, it can also put markings down on the road. So this is just showing lines where it's going. But we're also working on adding like safety features where it can highlight a pothole or something problem with the road to you, or also working on like if an animal jumped out or animals on the side of the road, it could somehow highlight that to the driver. And the area where I think this is really going to take off too is in autonomous driving vehicles. It's a way for the car to communicate with everybody outside of the car. Right? If you're a pedestrian and you're not sure if that car that stopped is going to let you walk across the street or not, right? There's no one there to wave you across. This is a way where it can potentially put a crosswalk on the street, or it can do something to let you know, hey, you can go ahead. Also, we're working on integrating this with GPS, so you can have turn instructions or other instructions just to show up on the road in front of you. It feels like you're playing Crazy Taxi or something. But yeah, so this is one of the projects I've been most passionate about, and I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have in relation. Thanks.